You know that feeling, or maybe you've seen it happen to someone else. An explosion of anger that just seems to come out of absolutely nowhere. A moment where the reaction is so huge, so intense, it feels like a total loss of control. We're talking about a rage outburst. And in this explainer, we are going to look under the hood at the powerful biological machinery that actually drives these moments.
I mean, this quote from the Mayo Clinic just nails it, doesn't it? Rage, tingling, racing thoughts. It captures that chaotic, overwhelming feeling. See, this isn't just about being mad. This is a full-body, physiological event. So we're going to peel back the layers on why this happens. And we're going to look at it not as some kind of character flaw, but as a powerful and really ancient biological process that is literally hardwired into every single one of us.
All right, let's start with the event itself. We're talking about an explosive outburst that can feel incredibly sudden, totally uncontrollable. And what's really interesting is how long, or rather how short, they last. These intense episodes are typically pretty brief, often lasting less than 30 minutes. It's like a flash flood of emotion and energy that just completely overwhelms the system, and then it's gone almost as quickly as it came.
But here's the thing. These explosions don't actually come from nowhere. According to the Mayo Clinic, before an episode even kicks off, the body is already on high alert. It's already being flooded with physical signals. It's like an engine revving up before the car peels out. You feel this buildup of tension, this surge of energy, your thoughts are going a mile a minute. You might even feel that tingling or shaking or a heart that feels like it's going to pound right out of your chest. These are all warning signs that your body's alarm system is already screaming.
And just as quickly as it starts, it's over. But in the aftermath of that storm, a whole different wave of emotions takes over. Sometimes there's this weird sense of relief at first, like a massive amount of pressure has just been let go. But that's almost always followed by this deep, profound tiredness. And then comes the guilt, the regret, or just deep, deep embarrassment. It's this emotional whiplash that's a key part of the experience, and it can leave you feeling completely and utterly drained.
So, that's the what. But now for the why. What if this huge, powerful outburst of anger isn't really what it seems on the surface? To really get it, we need to look deeper, right past the rage itself, and start asking, what is it protecting?
And this leads us to a really crucial idea for understanding these intense states. What if that anger is just the tip of the iceberg? What if it's just a loud, dramatic, and very distracting cover for something else hiding underneath? This is a huge shift in perspective, but it is absolutely key to making sense of these biological responses.
So here's the concept. Anger is often what's called a secondary emotion. The best way to think about it is like a bodyguard. Its job is to jump out front, look big and scary, and protect something much more vulnerable that's hiding behind it. In this case, that explosive anger is often a shield for deeper, harder feelings like fear or shame or deep hurt and pain. Feelings we might not even be consciously aware of. The anger just feels more powerful and honestly a lot safer to express than the vulnerability it's covering up.
Okay, now we're getting to the real core of it, the deep, ancient biological machinery that's driving this entire response. We're about to look at the wiring that has been baked into our nervous systems over millions of years of evolution. And this system? It was designed for one primary purpose: survival.
You've heard of this one for sure. It's the famous fight or flight response. First described way back in 1915, it is your body's automatic built-in survival kit. When your brain perceives a threat, and that word perceives is really important, it doesn't sit around and wait for you to think it through. No way. It immediately hits a button that triggers the sympathetic nervous system, flooding your body with hormones like adrenaline. It's all designed to get you ready to either confront the danger, to fight, or to get the heck out of there, to flee.
But here's the thing. Fight or flight isn't the whole story. Not even close. It's actually just one piece of a much more complex, tiered system that scientists now call the defense cascade. You can think of it as a whole sequence of survival responses. And the one that gets activated really depends on how close and how intense the brain thinks the threat is. It's like a sophisticated menu of options for dealing with danger.
So this here basically maps out our body's entire threat response menu. It all starts with simple arousal. That's just your brain going, hey, pay attention to that. If the threat gets closer, we jump up to fight or flight. But what if you can't fight and you can't run? Well, the body can shift into freeze, that tense stillness where you're just trying to assess the situation. And if the threat becomes completely inescapable, the system can go even deeper into what's called tonic immobility. That's an involuntary paralysis, or even collapsed immobility, which is basically fainting. It's this escalating ladder of survival tactics.
Here's a perfect example of what fight or flight looks like in real life. In this case, Kitty, who had a history of abuse, gets triggered by a memory.
Her body perceives an immediate, real threat. Her first response is pure flight. She has to get out. But when she's blocked, it instantly becomes fight, hitting, kicking, biting. This is an active, desperate attempt to escape a danger that feels 100% real to her nervous system.
And now, let's look at the freeze response. When Mary sees a can of kerosene catch fire, she doesn't run or scream. Her body just locks up, tense, hyper-aware. This isn't a choice she's making. It's a primal instinct to stop, to assess the danger, and to remain unseen before deciding what to do next. It is the classic deer in the headlights moment, a biological program just running its course.
And this shows one of the deepest levels, tonic immobility. This soldier is under fire and finds himself completely paralyzed. He can't move, he can't aim his weapon. This is the body's absolute last-ditch survival effort when a threat feels completely inescapable. It's an involuntary state of paralysis, very similar to an animal playing dead when all of its other defenses have failed.
Okay, so this brings up a huge question, right? We have this incredibly sophisticated, ancient survival system designed to save us from, being eaten by predators. But why in the world is it going off during a traffic jam, or a frustrating meeting at work, or an argument with someone we love? Why is our primal brain sounding the alarm when there are no saber-toothed tigers around?
Well, the answer is that our ancient brains are kind of bad at telling the difference. They often misinterpret modern stressors as life or death threats. I mean, think about it. Constant notifications from our phones, loud noises, crowded spaces, that can create serious sensory overload. Being hangry from low blood sugar? That's a real physiological stress state. Not getting enough sleep does the same thing. It just shortens our fuse. And then for people with a history of trauma or conditions like ADHD and anxiety, their baseline level of arousal is already higher. It's like their alarm system is way more sensitive and much, much quicker to trip.
This all brings us to a really critical distinction. The system itself isn't broken. It's actually doing exactly what it evolved to do. The challenge for us is telling the difference between a helpful, protective response and a system that's just become totally overloaded and is firing at the wrong times, causing way more harm than good.
Let's just put them side by side. A healthy stress response is adaptive. It helps you survive. It saves your life if a car swerves into your lane. The response is proportional to the threat, and once the danger is gone, your system goes back to normal. An overloaded response, on the other hand, is maladaptive. It's destructive. The reaction is, like the Mayo Clinic said, grossly out of proportion to what's actually happening. And instead of ensuring survival, it ends up causing long-term damage to your health, your work, and your relationship.
And this is exactly why learning about this biology is so empowering. It completely reframes the problem. Instead of looking at a rage outburst as some kind of moral failure, you can see it for what it is, the final, explosive endpoint of a biological sequence that probably started way earlier. And by recognizing those early warning signs, the racing heart, the tension, the racing thoughts, you create a window of opportunity to intervene before that cascade ever reaches its peak.
So if there's one thing to take away, it's this. Your body's alarm system is not broken, it's just ancient. It's built for a world that doesn't really exist anymore. So the real question isn't about how to shut the alarm off. It's about learning how to listen to what it's truly trying to warn you about. It asks us to look past all that noisy, explosive anger and listen for the quieter, more vulnerable feeling, the fear, the hurt, the feeling of being threatened that's hiding underneath. Because that's where the real story is.